When I was in the 10th grade, one of my friends and I were sitting in the library, and suddenly the school principal, comes into the library and from the opposite corner of the room points at my friend, calls him into the office, and accuses him of setting fire to one of the trash cans in the school. Well, the crazy thing is, he was with us the whole time that this thing happened. So we knew there was no way that he was responsible for that. On top of that, the only basis for accusation that the principal had was that he was wearing this army colored jacket. So that was it. She accused him in front of the whole library full of kids of doing something that he didn't do, with the sole evidence of the fact that he was wearing an army colored jacket. Well, it turned out that they found who was responsible, and of course it wasn't him, but she was just gonna let it slide. She was just gonna be like, okay, it wasn't you, that's it. I marched myself into that office and I demanded that she apologize to him in public, because she had humiliated him in public. And the next day, first thing in the morning, she was in our homeroom class apologizing to him and recognizing her mistake. Now, I don't say any of that to brag or to make myself seem like this huge, I don't know, relevant person or whatever. I say it because up until that moment, I didn't realize, I had no real notion of the power that my words could hold, of the change that I could effect if I just stood for something, and of the power of conviction, right? Of how much, when you're convicted about something, you can actually do things that change the world around you. Now, how about you? Have you ever experienced, even for a second, the glimpse of all this great change and of this amazing impact that you could have in the world? Have you ever tasted the fact that you could lead movements and guide people towards better and more? Have you ever dreamt of being in front of a group of people, leading them to new solutions and to new possibilities and to new ways of doing life and managing the world? Have you ever tapped into the possibility of being a movement maker? If you have had even the slightest glimpse of what that might look like, if you know that there's something in your heart that is propelling you towards making something big, creating something big that leaves a legacy that can change the world for others, then this conversation of Sincerely Speaking is for you. Today, I'm going to share with you the 6 S's of becoming a movement creator. Are you ready? Then let's go. Do you ever let self-sabotage stop you? If you experience any kind of self-sabotage, I'm talking about procrastination, analysis paralysis, double guessing, taking one step forward and 3 steps back, feeling like you're spinning your wheels, doing silly things that you don't even understand why you're doing them, that stop you dead on your tracks, then I have a gift for you. Head on over right now to marciamara.com and you're going to see a button. Actually, you're going to see several buttons, but the one right on top of the page says get access to the free replay of Beyond Limits. And Beyond Limits is a workshop I held in which I walk you through the 3 strategies that will get you out of that cycle of self-sabotage and onto achieving amazing, incredible things. So as we have this conversation today, I invite you at the end, after you listen to the whole conversation, to go to marciamara.com and get your free copy of the replay. I promise you, you're going to get a lot of value out of it, and it's going to help propel you forward in ways that you never imagined. So stick around to this conversation of Sincerely Speaking, and then head on over to Marcia Amaro to get your free copy of Beyond Limits. So at that moment in my 10th grade experience, I realized that I had the potential to do things that I never thought possible. I always saw myself as more of a wallflower, right? Hiding behind the scenes. I never really wanted to stand out. I never really wanted to do anything powerful or important. And if you've followed me for any length of time, you know that after this event, something happened that kept me silenced for a long time. But as I've been rediscovering my self-leadership, how to lead and manage myself, as I've been understanding the importance of living your calling and using your God-given talents to move forward and to create change in the world, I've realized that there are some of us that have been called to start movements that change the world. Maybe not today, maybe not in our lifetime, but that leave the legacy and start the fire, ignite the fire, the spark to get those movements going so that the world can be different because of what has been placed inside of us. Not because we're anything special, because I know I'm not, but because of what has been placed inside of us and what God has chosen us for, right? And so today I want to talk about 6 S's. So 6 steps or 6 ideas, 6 notions that are going to start you on the path to creating that movement and that are going to allow you to step into and elevate towards what you have been called to create in the world. Now, I want to clarify. When I speak of movement, I don't necessarily speak of some big global multi-billion-dollar enterprise that is going to give money to a special cause or that it's going to completely combat some political notion or change the course of a nation necessarily. Some of you probably might have this inside of you, and I can't wait to hear what you feel called to start as a movement. So please make sure to share with me. But what I'm talking about is starting that snowball effect. It's about doing one thing that you've been called to do that might give a voice to someone that is afraid to speak up, that might give a reason to someone for someone to step up and do things that they've been questioning whether they should do them or not. What I'm talking about is getting started in speaking out and doing the thing that you have been harboring in your heart and saying the things that a lot of other people might be thinking but might not feel led or moved or be like they're in a position to do or to say the thing that you are in a position to do and to say. And again, if you've followed me for any length of time, you know that I'm not talking about credentials or titles or necessarily having a degree or something that gives you quote unquote permission to do these things or that qualifies you to do these things. What qualifies you is the fact that you feel the calling. What qualifies you is the fact that it stirs you up. What qualifies you is the fact that you know this gets to change and that if you don't speak up, maybe nobody else will. Or that while others might be speaking out about this, they don't have you behind it. They don't have your heart, your experiences, your energy, the way that you approach it and the way you see it. And we are each given a unique voice that resonates with certain people and not with others. So as we go through this experience of talking about the 6 S's that will help propel your movement, understand that yes, there might be others talking about the same subject. Yes, there might be other similar movements. Yes, there might be other things that are being done. But if you're feeling that prompting, if you are harboring that desire to do something about it, then I am willing to bet that there are people out there that will not resonate with or respond to any voice other than yours, right? So that is something that I want to clarify and I want to step in. So to dive quickly, because I want to make this short, sweet, and to the point, the 6 S's of movement creation are stand, step, speak, seek, spread, and soar. I'll repeat them. Stand, step, speak, seek, spread, and soar. So very quickly, what do these mean and how do they relate to you? The first one is stand. And what I mean by that is literally take a stand. Take a stand. Now, there's something that I need you to understand. When you take a stand for something, by definition, there will be people who stand for the opposite. And by definition, there will be people who oppose you. And by definition, you will get criticized, you will get judged, and you will get people who oppose you very vocally, very openly, and without any kind of reservation, right? So in the stand stage, in the stand piece of the puzzle, it's about developing and really refining and understanding your level of conviction about whatever it is that you stand for, right? Because again, when you stand for something, there will be people who stand for the opposite. And that is by definition, and that is inevitable. So it's important for you to understand at the onset that taking a stand for something, that being a movement creator, that seeking to effect change or have an impact in the world will necessitate, it's an obligation. It will happen that other people will oppose you, will criticize you, will think less of you, will not understand you, will attack you. and that you will have that kind of resistance that we sometimes so often actually avoid. So, taking a stand goes hand in hand with expecting, anticipating, and being okay with rejection. And that is a hard thing to do. But in the famous words of Alexander Hamilton, if you stand for nothing, what do you fall for? Right? So it's important to understand that as much as it pains or it hurts to feel rejected or to be criticized or to have people oppose you, it's even worse to know that there's something inside of you, that there is a belief, a truth, a conviction inside of you that you are holding back because you don't want to offend anybody. All right. We are going to offend people, not deliberately, not because we're setting out to attack or offend necessarily people directly, although sometimes taking a stand means that we are going to very consciously say things that we know are offensive to others, right? But taking a stand by its definition means that if I stand for something, somebody else is going to stand for the opposite, and there is going to be friction, right? And it could be as simple as I love pink. Pink is my favorite color. Right. So I could stand here and say that pink is prettier than blue. Well, there are going to be people out there who are going to say that blue is prettier than pink. And this is a silly example, but that's precisely why I'm using it. Right. So it's about understanding that because I am convicted about something, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody else in the world is going to agree with my conviction. In fact, it means the opposite. Some people are going to agree with and believe the opposite of what I believe. And therefore, there is going to be some sort of confrontation, some sort of opposition, and some rejection that comes with it. But when you are fully convicted, when you know in your heart, in your mind, and in your entire being that what you are standing for is the right thing to stand for, then it doesn't matter who attacks you or who opposes you, right? Now, here's something that I will say in this stand piece. Make sure that your conviction is mind, heart, and soul, that it involves all of you, right? For example, I am a Christian. I have friends who are not, right? I am convicted in my Christianity. They are convicted in their beliefs. And we are able to continue to be friends, even though we understand we're never going to convince the other because we're fully convicted in our belief system. And anytime we have a conversation, I'm able to express why my conviction is so strong. Give examples, give evidence, logical, emotional, spiritual examples of why I'm so convicted. And they're able to do the same. We understand the faith aspect of it and we relate to some level in it. And actually, we respect each other more because we're so convicted. We're not wishy washy going back and forth, right? But if you start just pandering and catering to everybody's beliefs and trying to be nice and trying not to offend, you're going to whitewash and you're going to water down your beliefs, and therefore nobody's going to follow you because you can't lead from the middle of the road. You can't do that. So you need to pick where you stand, but you need to be convicted about where you stand. If you don't have the level of conviction that can have a conversation with anybody on the opposite end of the spectrum without being violent, but with evidence to support your conviction, then you don't have the makings of starting a movement yet. So make sure that when you take a stand, you're actually getting all your evidence in order, that you're actually understanding what you're standing for, why you're standing for it, and that you can back it up because opposition will come. So that's the stand piece. The second one is step. Step. And what I mean by step is step out in faith. Step out in the belief that what you are doing is important, is necessary, it's right, and it's good, not just for you, but for others. And then step out and start doing the things that you believe will start moving your movement. Sorry for the redundancy, right? But that will start propelling and catalyzing your movement, that will start doing things that will find the people that share your belief or that can benefit from whatever it is that you're doing, right? So in the step piece of the puzzle, you start looking for ways in which you can live out your conviction, ways in which you can start acting in the way that supports and that reinforces what you stand for, right? So it's about walking the talk. It's about walking the talk. It's about saying, okay, so if I am convinced that pink is prettier than blue, and again, I'm using a silly example because it's not gonna block you from listening to what I'm going to say, right? So it's going to allow you to be open to what I am trying to share in this space. But if I am saying that pink is prettier than blue, then one step I could take is paint my house pink, right? It's just one thing that will show that I actually am convicted that pink is prettier than blue. Something else I could do is I could go and find, I don't know, a girl that's in need and buy her a whole pink outfit. I don't know, I'm saying silly things, but you see what I mean. I'm going to do something that backs what I'm saying I stand for. I'm going to start taking action that shows that I'm not just saying this thing, that it's not just an intellectual knowing, or that it's not just an emotional thing that I'm letting my emotions drive me. I am so fully convicted in it that I'm going to start putting motion to my notions, and I'm going to start taking action towards my movement, towards what I think, towards what I say that I stand for, right? So I'm going to start putting foundation to my conviction by doing things. So after I am sure of my stand and I'm convicted of it, I'm going to start taking steps, actions, visible actions that are going to show that I actually believe what I say I believe, that are going to allow me to walk the talk, and that are going to allow me to put action behind my conviction. Make sense? The next one is speak. So it's not just enough to do things. Actions speak very loudly, and actions can have a lot of impact and can gain a lot of traction for you in your movement. But if you don't speak about what it is that you believe, if you don't share it, if you don't start putting words and putting um, frames to what it is that you are standing for, then it's going to be very, very hard to spread this unless you can dedicate your full time to taking action around it. And even then, if you're not willing to eventually at some point speak on it, then there's going to be you're going to have a hard time taking that spark and actually lighting it up so that it spreads, right? So, what you're going to do in the speak part is, first of all, clarify what your message is. Like, actually sit down and think, okay, if I wanted to share with someone else what it is that I stand for, what it is that I believe in, what it is, the change that I'm trying to affect in the world, how I think this would be a positive thing for other people, the kind of people that this would benefit, the kind of people that could gain from this movement, then I need to say things that make sense, not just to me, but to others. And this is what that would sound like, right? So it's clarifying what it is exactly that you're trying to do for whom and why. What it is that you're hoping to see at the end, and putting it into words that make sense. And the second part of the speak is to actually create stories that will add emotion, that will add relatability to what you stand for, that will allow others to put themselves in the position of someone who is benefiting from or supporting this particular situation, right? Like, I don't know if you've had the experience, but I've had the experience plenty of times in which I am listening to someone who is presenting something that could potentially be very dry, and I'm listening to them and I'm trying to figure out what it is that they're saying and what it is that they're trying to put forth, and then suddenly they start sharing a story, and then you get all caught up in that story and you get drawn in and you start envisioning yourself experiencing the thing that they're talking about. And you start seeing yourself in the character in that story. And you start feeling and experiencing the same things that that character was experiencing, right? And then eventually you get to the point where you're like, I see myself there, right? I've been there. I've understood. I've experienced that. And so when you speak And especially when you find stories that can propel your message at the same time as they connect with others, then you start moving towards the next S, which is seek. Seek those people that resonate with your message. Seek those people that are as convicted as you are. Maybe even seek those people that are on the fence, but leaning more towards your stance than the others, that might find in your stories and in your speaking and in your stepping out the validation and the inspiration that they need in order to take a stand with you and in order to move forward, right? Because as you seek those people, which is the 4S, then you can start spreading, which is the 5th S, right? When Christ came to the world, he first of all sent someone ahead of him to start preparing the ground. But when he started his ministry, he didn't set out to do it alone, even though he is God, right? And he could have done it alone. He found 12. And at several moments, he sent the 12 and he stayed in one place, but he sent the 12. So he created a way to spread his movement and his belief and his mission by gathering around him and rallying with him and enrolling 12 that could help spread his message. So as you step out and start doing things, and then you start speaking your message in a way that resonates with others, you seek out those people that really connect with you and your message, and then you can start spreading your movement by equipping those people who you sought out or who sought you out, and equipping them with the right message, with the right information, with the right tools, with the right resources to start spreading your message and to start spreading your movement and enrolling more people and bringing them in and um, allowing them to see the benefit to them and to the world and to those people that they care about of being part of this movement that you're creating, right? And then finally, the last S is soar. Once you've done this, once you've taken a firm stand in conviction, once you've stepped out to walk the talk and do the things that support what you take a stand on, once you start speaking in a way that resonates with others and that captivates their attention and their emotion and their heart, once you seek or are sought by those people who resonate with your message, and you start spreading the message by equipping those people and sending them out, then your movement can soar. And it can become a movement that spans distance, generations, time, that spans challenges and opposition, that spans anything and everything that wants to get in the way, because now you are not just you with a firm conviction. Now you're you impacting others who share your conviction, who in turn around and impact others and repeat the process, right? So I want to clarify as we wrap this up that this will work. I'm sorry, I have to take a drink of water. My throat is very dry. That this will work for pretty much anything that you're really convicted around, right? But the invitation is to think about, will this positively impact the lives of others? Will it leave a legacy of empowerment and positivity in the world? Will it make the world a better place after I'm gone? If the answer is yes to all those things, then by all means, start right now. Don't wait. But if it's no, then examine your motives, right? There's a lot of the things that I talk about in this podcast that have to do with communication, that have to do with touching hearts, that have to do with stepping up into your own leadership and into leading others, that I hope and pray you understand they can work for both good and bad, right? But it is my hope that anybody who listens to the show, that anybody who connects with me understands that the intention should be to affect a positive impact and a positive change in the world. My ultimate goal is to end disconnect and discord in the world. And that's kind of funny because I'm telling you, if you take a stand, you're going to have opposition. But opposition doesn't mean that you have to attack each other. Opposition might mean we differ, like I said about me and my friends that share a different faith, that have a different faith that don't share mine. You can disagree. You can think differently from others and still have a connected experience as human beings and still have cordial conversations and still agree to disagree, but still be friends, still be connected, still love, still support, right? So I hope that as you take these 6 steps, that you're looking not just to spread what you're convicted about and to affect a positive impact in the world, but that you're also looking to see how you can bring in and invite conversations from people who oppose you so that you can at least hear each other and get to a space where, yes, we disagree, but we don't have to contend. We disagree, but we don't have to attack. We don't believe the same thing, but we can still agree to disagree in a respectful human way. All right. So, again, the steps are: take a stand in conviction, step forth in faith, doing the things that demonstrate your conviction, speak, refine your message so that it really resonates with the right people, and add stories that will touch people's hearts. Seek out those who resonate with your message or allow them to seek you out. Then spread by equipping those people who resonate with your message and sending them out to continue spreading it. And finally, let your movement soar and touch every end of the world, touch other generations, touch other countries, touch the lives of hundreds, if not thousands, of people that will benefit and grow because you stepped out and you took a stance. All right. Now, if you are struggling with how to get started with any of this, you can schedule a 30-minute conversation with me, a confidence and clarity call, where we will talk about what it is that is in your heart, what it is that you're looking to do, or what it is that you're harboring, right? What it is that you have been prompted to do, and how to get started in all of this. And you can also still benefit from the free replay of Beyond Limits. Get out of self-sabotage and start moving into the impact that you were meant to create. All those things are available to you at marcimaro.com. Hope to see you there. Until next time, share this with someone you love. Make sure that you subscribe, comment, and let me know what you think. And we will see you next time here on Sincerely Speaking. Ciao.